Today I'm here with Misery Hates Company. We're going to be talking about Diablo Immortal and the state of the game. I want to thank you for coming to the channel, man. This has been a long time coming. Happy to finally be able to chat with you. So thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here. Glad we got it worked out. Yeah, schedules are crazy, but it's a good time.
It is crazy. Two dads that have kids and jobs, it's tough to do. But let's talk about the
All
state
right.
of the game. And I want to start with talking about the state of the game now, prior to the update that's coming to the game, which we should be seeing in a couple of weeks, which we actually spoke of on your channel. I'll talk more about that later. But Diablo Immortal as a whole, PvP, PvE, the classes and balancing, how do you generally feel about the game today versus maybe when it launched a year and a half ago?
Sure. I mean, honestly, it's insane how much has changed. You know, they talked about in their patch notes that we have over 20 updates in the year, which I didn't keep count, but like that's insane to think about for any mobile game, but especially Diablo Immortal, considering how it started and how it was received. I think that we are light years in a better spot. You know, I think when I just think about my daily grind, there's so many different catch up mechanics where to your point, like if we're busy, like if work comes up and I'm like, I end up closing or something where I'm working until midnight or whatever, I still have a way of catching up without feeling just dramatically behind. And even when it comes to like the hardest thing to catch up, in my opinion, in the whole game is going to be like gear upgrades. But even then, you can purchase those with gold. You can farm gold by overworld farming. So there's other ways of like chipping away at that. That to me speaks volumes of the game because to make a game survive, we have to have new players be able to catch up within reason. They shouldn't be able to catch up and then just be able to compete with everyone that's been playing for a year. That wouldn't be fair. But they have to be able to catch up and be able to play with us.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, at least, I think that we're at that point where they can easily get to close to where we're at and maybe even get to Inferno 3. But yeah, I think it's just insane how well the game has progressed over the past year. What do you think, though?
I agree, but tell me it doesn't make you feel a little bit bad that someone brand new can come to the game and be right where you are after a month of playing, and you've been playing for a year and a half. It's something
It
about
does.
that.
Yeah, it does feel bad. And I covered this. It was a hot topic actually from the transition from Inferno 1 to 2. But
Hmm.
there were a lot of newer players that made it to the right Paragon, but their combat rating was just so low because of the gear upgrades. So yeah, they hit that Paragon level, but they're missing out on like, the grind from your warband or your Heliquaries or
Right.
the gear upgrades. And that's where you're like, yeah, your Paragon level might be the same, but you're still 2K under combat rating, and that's without even factoring in resonance.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
you and I are in a similar boat when it comes to resonance. I think I'm sitting at like 2.5K resonance, so it's
You
yeah under 3.
you got more than me, man. I haven't even broken
Oh
2K
yeah.
residents. Yeah, I haven't broken. Maybe I
Oh
haven't spent
no.
properly, but it's fine. I don't really worry about residents. I'm actually
Yeah.
thinking of going all 1 and 2 star gems. I'm only rocking two 5 star gems, and they're 3 out of 5. Blood-soaked Jade and Seeping Bile. Thinking about just
Yeah.
going all 1 and 2, but I'm waiting to see what this update brings before I make any big changes.
So it's funny you say that. I was running all 5-star legendary gems and very recently switched to all 1 and 2 star and only one
Oh,
5-star legendary gem, being the Bloodsoaked Jade. So I got rid of close to everything that was 5-star. I think I still have one left because I'm waiting to like upgrade one of my 2 stars to get it close enough to 10.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed a big difference in my overall damage is actually higher because I have those awakened gem slots now with 2
Right.
stars, and that's a big difference. And there's some really good 2 and 1 star legendary gems that have come out recently, which again to the overall point of the video, I mean, the state of the game, like there's so many choices now that you don't have to use 5-star legendary gems, and you can get them. Like that's where I feel comfortable as a lower spender now compared to what I was doing previously, that I can only do and focus on one 5-star legendary gem with the Telluric Pearls. Whether we would get them, monthly or weekly, whatever they are, and then the events they shoot up every once in a while. But I'll
Yeah.
just keep getting Bloodsoaked Jade, and I'll just eventually upgrade it. And now we can even upgrade it without fully upgrading it with like the new like step process, which is a pretty cool addition.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's so many 1 and 2 star gems that have been introduced. So yeah, I love where the game's at. I love where it's going. And yeah, to your point, the new update it'll be interesting to see what it does for us.
Oh, it will. Do you think you can get your Blood-soaked Jade to max level with
No,
this with the
definitely not.
process that you're at?
Well, let me rephrase. My first answer was no, but I guess yes. If I can get there before I'm 90, I can definitely get that Bloodsoaked Jade maxed
So
out.
that's why I like the whole 1 and 2 idea, because I know I'm
Yeah,
not going to be one of the best in battlegrounds, and that's fine. So I want to be able to unlock the features. And yes, awakening a gem slot costs money, and it's a pay to win mechanic. But when you think about it,
yeah,
it's nothing compared to having to max out the other gems. I like the
right.
idea of it. It really gives you those nice buffs, and I don't
Hmm.
know. I think it's fun.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
You mentioned when we were chatting casually that you're not a big Battlegrounds player. So you and I
Right.
are both in the same position there. So the
Yeah.
game has introduced many other game modes that are competitive, like Trial of the Hordes. They
Mhm.
have the Battle Royale mode. There's four of them. I don't even remember all the names of all of them, but I
Oh
love
gosh,
how
yeah.
they're cycling them every single week or so. A new one comes, one goes away.
Yep.
How do you like it, and what's your favorite one?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a great question. So yeah, I forgot the name of it. It's the Path of Blood one though, where it's like everyone like one lane in the middle. I love that. I think it's so much fun. I will just spam that. And I'm not to your point, not big on PvP, but these balanced PvPs that they have to your point with like Wild Brawl, the this one that I'm talking about, the whatever it's called. I think it's Vigil of something. But yeah, that one lane. And then there's another one that you just talked about. That one's okay. The Trial of the Horde. I grinded it really hard 2 times ago, and then it came back, and I was just too busy to play it. But to your point, I do like that there's that they have that like sort of frequency now where it's once a week.
Yeah,
So now I don't feel like I have to play it. It's going to come back very very soon, and that's awesome.
yeah,
Gives a lot of things to do during your grind for the week, and most of them give some pretty phenomenal legendary gear, which is awesome. Like Fractured Plane is out right now, which
love
is
that.
also seemingly on the same rotation, and they made it a lot easier, which is awesome for new players. But yeah, that's there's so many good ones. But yeah, I think the one where everyone's in the middle and there's four
Is
v
that
four
is it
whatever eight
Alley
v
of
eight. Oh,
Blood? Is
no.
that what it's called? Alley of
That's what
Blood?
it is.
Alley of Blood. You
Yeah,
know what
Alley
I
of Blood.
really liked, and it's not Alley of Blood, was the one. Remember when they changed how Shadow Wars were to now it's like that MOBA style?
Yes. Yep.
So there was a week when they had the practice where you could do that.
Yep.
That hasn't come back as a game mode though, has it? If it has, I
I,
completely missed it.
I think that's Alley of Blood,
Is it the
right?
Alley of Blood or is that? Well, I like
Yeah,
that
'cause
one then too. Then I like
yeah,
that one too.
that one comes out on Friday actually. So that this coming Friday it'll actually be back out. So
December
we'll have
1st.
that for a week.
See,
There you
I
go.
didn't. Okay, yeah. So there you go. I like that one a lot too. It reminds me a lot of a MOBA. I like that you have to actually
Yep.
fight your way through. It's just a better game mode than even Battlegrounds, where you have different lanes that you can go on, having to
Oh yeah.
capture. I don't know. I like it too. So you and I are on the same page there as well. My biggest
Yeah, it's so
issue
much fun.
with all these modes is I have my grind that I have to do throughout the day, trying to get the three turn-ins of the monstrous essence, trying to get
Mhm.
all the everything done to then
Yeah.
have the time to do those game modes as well. I always prioritize doing the grind stuff before I get into doing any of the game modes. How do you handle
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so I'm very similar boat. I try to let everything catch up for 3 days at most. So with my job, very busy on the weekends. So
Mhm.
very different compared to most people. So I have close to no time to play on the weekends, and then come beginning of the week is sort of like my weekend where I have a little bit more time off or time to play games. So I will from the weekend on Monday usually knock out all my bounties and my dungeons and sort of just catch up on everything. And then that gives me a little bit more time just to your point to do the daily grind within like an hour. Usually, I think I time myself at one point, and it's about an hour to do everything. I definitely don't do all three Monster Assassins turn-ins though. I'm good for one. That's
Oh
all I get.
man, that's such good value, especially when you get the double on that for that battle pass.
It
I love that.
is. It is. But yeah, it's just such a grind. But yeah, so I usually do the bare minimum, and then I'll go play the new stuff. But
All right.
so I do sacrifice my Monster Essences. What about you?
I don't sacrifice any of the grind, and I probably should
Okay.
because it's more fun to do some of the game modes, especially because they only
Sure.
come once a month or so.
Yep.
But I'm always worried about, oh, I really should get my grind done. But really, when you think about it, with the catch up mechanic and all that, like, I don't have to. And really, who cares if
Sure.
I'm at above or way beyond above Paragon level? It really doesn't matter for what I'm trying to do inside of the game. So
Yeah. No, I agree.
I should do more of the Alley of Blood since now that I realize that it is actually that. And I thought it wasn't coming back. I thought it was like, here's a test game mode. This is what Shadow Wars is gonna be
Yep.
like, and it's never coming back. But there you go. That's nice.
Yeah. I was very surprised when they brought it back because I was on the same train you were. I was like, wow, that I played that so much and now it's gone. And then
Yeah,
the Shadow War part of it, like it would be cool if there were more active Shadow clans, but like most of the Shadow fights right now are just so one-sided. Like you just have to
run
show
through it.
up and you win.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it'll be fun to check that out. I do hope I don't remember in the patch notes, but I hopefully they increase the amount of people that are involved because I think last time it was like 4v4 and
That's
like
what
the
it
normal
was
one's like
originally.
8v8.
It was
Yeah. So I don't
4v4 as the test. I would love to
right.
see it 8v8 as Alley of
Yes.
Blood. To be honest, for the Shadow War, I don't care if it were Alley of Blood or where you used to fight the big immortal. I think that was fine.
Yeah.
And give us Alley of Blood as a game mode, like something
Yeah.
that keeps coming back, and I'm happy with that.
Yep,
Um,
totally agree.
how are you about being competitive in the whole Shadow versus Immortal? Do you put a lot of time and effort into being one of the best shadow clans or being the immortal, or is that not something you really care about?
Yeah, I thought you might ask that. I did not care for a long time, until they added these new cloaks. I don't know what it is
Oh,
about cosmetics, man, but they got me hooked. So, we are very competitive on our server. We do have a 4-clan alliance, which does cause some drama. So there's a
mm,
rotation that happens. And right now we're sort of off rotation where our 4th clan didn't win with that reset. So yeah, a little bit of a downtime. So all of us are on Shadow. We have the majority of the whales or the bigger players on our server, but usually it's a good fight. We have one other good clan that is not in our 4 sort of coalition, if you will, that again starts some appropriate drama. I don't want to call out. Everyone knows what clan I'm in. There's no actual drama, but it's like fun and it's competitive, I guess is the best way of putting it. So I'm very competitive at that aspect. So yeah, I make sure I do all my dailies. I do my grind.
nice.
But to my other point, when it comes to these, set times you have to be at places, I'm busy on the weekends and
Yeah.
Saturdays are tough. They're so tough for me. So I do miss some things. I know that I'll probably get roasted in the comments by my
Uh,
clan, but I try, guys. I try.
That's fine. I hate that stuff though about this game and games like it, and there's no way around it. But having to have
Yep.
set times, like I used to play Clash of Clans, you had 24 hours to
Mhm.
get your war attacks in, right? But
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
different here because everyone has to be
yeah.
there together for these battles. It makes it tough
Right.
for a lot of players that just don't have the time. Like mine's at I think 7:30
Yeah.
p.m. and that's when I'm putting my kids to bed. So I have to and that's also why I prefer the old Shadow War method because it's usually pretty
Yep.
quick. While sometimes
Yep.
the Alley of Blood method could take a while, and I'm just trying to get through
Oh
it
yeah.
to put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
But all right, let's talk a little bit about the new zone. We spoke of, by the way,
Yep.
everyone. We did a video over on Misery Hates Company's channel talking all about pets. So we're not going to talk about that here. If you want to check that out, go to his channel. I'll be linking it in the description, that video. But let's talk about the new zone. How do you feel about new zones coming to the game? And then I'll share with you how I feel.
Yeah, so I love new zones. I think in most Diablo universes, both Immortal, Diablo 4, or any of them, they are carried by their artwork.
Mm,
They do a phenomenal job with cosmetics, the design, and then like the lore. If you're into lore, I'm not a big lore person, but I appreciate how much effort goes into it, and a lot of people are. But I enjoy them for the first hour and a half, unfortunately.
yeah.
I hope that there is an awesome farm inside of it, like a farm location. That way I can use it more. But yeah, I think like the last two, I don't go to anymore after that first. And I even try to make them work. I make a video. I don't know if you do as well, but I'll make a best farm video or location for the new zone, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go there once. That's it. But
Yeah. I feel the same way. The new zones are great. I also don't care much about lore. I should, but I don't. But I do
yeah,
appreciate the hour and a half of the new zone when it drops, the whole campaign that comes along with it.
yep,
But you're right,
hmm
you play through it. Think about the effort they put into developing that. Like there's
so much time.
so much. And we play it for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then we hope that there's bounties in a dungeon there. And
Yeah,
really, I'm running the same dungeon every day, 3 times a day, anyways, if not more. So
right,
it's
right.
not even for the dungeons. But um,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they
it's
could fix that though. I think there's an opportunity to introduce like a world boss. They do a great job with other things where you can see like so many people within West March, but it'd be cool if there was a world boss actually out in the world that actually had more meaning to it, like a guaranteed legendary drop. There
yeah,
are some already out there, but you can do them with like by yourself or with 2 people. Like it'd be so cool if you had to have like 10 people that had to come together in the game to do it, and maybe it was on a timer or whatever, or you had to do like a certain quest line to unlock the ability of having it summon. I think just to like help double down with how much development goes into it, to your point,
yeah.
to help us stay there a little bit longer. I would love to have that personally.
I agree. Like they do have the carriage, of course, which I'll only
Right.
catch the carriage if I happen to be in the zone and I realize it's happening. Like I never
Yep.
go for it, or if I'm in the library doing some farming, because that's where I farm. Something
Mhm.
spawns, so I'm gonna go run over there quick and do it. But you're right, the rewards are never great. If it
Not
had a
awesome. Yeah.
reward, even a guaranteed legendary, like if
Mhm.
you're playing a class for 2 seasons, you got all the legendaries. Do you really care about a guaranteed legendary anymore?
Right. Yeah.
Like
At that
it's
point, you're just farming for the chance of an upgrade, so
yeah,
it's not hurting anything.
right, exactly. So, but I do agree. I think that it's great that they do it. And I think they really do balance things out well between the new
Mhm.
PvE and PvP modes, the new zones, the new class, pets coming. They do a good job balancing things out with how they bring
Yeah.
it. It's just value for the investment they're putting into it as far as their time goes. It's just not there. But I guess You have to. Like, if the game still only had the original few zones, we'd be like, man,
That's
we
true.
we'd be complaining that we need a new zone, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah,
so I like it.
for
I'm
sure.
looking forward to new zone. I plan on, either going live or doing a video of it because I never capture the whole thing. But I'm gonna when
Yeah,
it goes
sure.
live, I'm gonna log on and I'm just gonna record it and experience it with everybody on the channel. And
Yeah.
that's gonna be how I experience the new zone, like long video. But
Yeah, explore every corner of it, right? Just
yeah,
find every treasure chest and
see the complete ultimate guide of the
there you
new
go. You
zone.
got the title ready to
Yeah,
go.
all ready to go. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think that overall, the state of the game is really good. So much better than it was when
Oh, yeah.
the game launched. I think everyone can agree. And I still have people come into my comments, and you probably do as well. Let me know
Yeah.
if they're like, "I quit playing Diablo a year ago. Is it worth
Yep.
coming back to now?" What do you tell those people? Because I get that too.
Um, I get similar comments. I get more, I just came from D4,
Mm,
and like what's the similarities there? So I get comments like that. I get a lot of people that leave D4 or are like, tired of
crazy.
grinding D4, like they finished the season, which is cool. Like they're coming up with new stuff in D4 that from a seasonal aspect. And then they're like, but I want to keep doing something new. And that's where they come back to Diablo Immortal.
Yeah.
Um, so that's sort of the questions that I see in my comments.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, D4 was like this god that came that came, and then quickly everyone hated that too. So it's like, okay,
Oh yeah.
people hate all Diablo games can do a lot of wrong. But I'll tell you what, Diablo Immortal, and again, it's been out for a lot longer than D4. There's just a
Mhm.
lot more going on inside of the game than inside of D4, if you ask me. That's probably
Yeah.
a hot topic itself, but there's so much going on inside of the game.
Totally.
Um,
I think it's amazing that, even that they have sneak peeked the new class for D4, that it's almost certainly not going to be the Blood Knight. I thought that was really interesting. It's at least from what they leaked at BlizzCon, and I know you were there, it
mhm.
seems like more of it's like a maybe of a not druid, but, almost like a caster. So, like, it very much seems like it's definitely not going the way of the Blood Knight, which is very interesting. I thought for sure with I forgot the season 2 was, I think, blood themed, but the fact that they didn't double down and just reintroduce that to D4, I thought was really cool for Diablo Immortal to have that exclusive class still.
I wonder if they were scared to do it, right? If they didn't want to be looked at as like, oh, this is so
Could be.
cheap, they just took it from Diablo Immortal and put it
Yeah, that's a
here,
good point.
you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
But it
Yeah,
is
it could
cool.
be.
It would be cool if the Blood Knight doesn't show up in a Diablo game for
Yeah,
years and it becomes, it's like part of Diablo Immortal. I don't know.
totally.
Do you like the Blood Knight class? Have you played it?
I do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's probably my second favorite class. My favorite being the wizard. Big,
Ooh,
big wizard guy. I love all the different classes. If I or the different like builds you can have with the wizard. If I get bored of one thing, I can very easily change to one that still works.
true.
Like right now I'm on the demon hunter, and I feel like there's only one build that I can really
Yeah,
use, and like it's fun and I enjoy it. But if I get bored of it, I'm gonna end up class changing instead of just switching the build. But
yeah. But that's a great feature too, which we didn't speak of. We don't need too much. But remember
ah,
when there was, having the class change element is awesome. I was a barbarian forever. I think it's like an
mhm,
awesome looking class. Was great for farming, not great in PvP. Then I switched to the Blood Knight, and just the healing elements of the Blood Knight are
yeah,
great. I
yeah,
just love that you could be in battles and just not die. Um, and now I just switched to the Crusader, and
yep,
it's just an amazing PVE build that I'm just loving. And when I get bored of it, I'll switch to something else. So it's really
yeah,
great that that's available because it's not a season based game, which I
right,
like too.
right.
I don't I
I
don't
agree.
I don't love the idea of grinding and then losing it all to have to start a new season. So
Yep, I actually just stopped playing a different mobile game that I won't talk about in the channel,
okay,
because I wasn't a fan of the seasonal aspect, but
mm,
yeah, so I think there's enough seasonal challenges in Diablo Immortal if you want that, like, with the, challenge rifts, that has a sort of a season, there's a battleground season, so, like, if you wanted a unique season to rank on a leaderboard, it's there for you,
right,
but to your point, like, you can totally play the whole game and never experience that and be fine.
yeah, and your class is never lost. Like your
Exactly.
build, your
Right.
grind is always going to be with you.
Yep,
I like
100%.
that as
Never
well.
lose anything you earned, for sure.
Well, it seems that you and I both feel that the game is in a great state for where it is. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it remains in that great state, if not even better, after the update. But why
Oh,
don't
yeah.
we hook up again after the update comes and kind of give another take a look and see what everything's like once the
Yeah.
update comes through.
Totally. Very, very much game. Enjoy talking to anyone and everyone about Diablo Immortal. So always up for a video.
I appreciate it, man. If you guys don't know Misery Hates Company, I'll be leaving the link to the video we did together on pets in the description of this video. Make sure you go check him out and subscribe to his channel. Thanks again for coming through, man, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow.